McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles as part of a Minecraft movie meal with your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Participate in McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy David with Black Wealth Renaissance, and I'm here today to tell you guys about Anchor. If you haven't heard of Anchor, it's the best place to make a podcast. Anchor is a free app that has creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast straight from your phone. Anchor also distributes your podcast across all major platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many others. You can also make money on your podcast with Anchor with no minimum listenership. Anchor is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So if you're looking to get started on your own podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm.
You know the rules of the game. Yeah. You know the rules of the game. I don't care what color. Can you make me 100 million? Let's talk money. Can you make me that? If you can't make me that, I won't talk to you. You shouldn't even be at this table.
Hey, I got money on my mind. I'm just trying to get some dough. I ain't picking up my line unless it's money on the phone. Gotta get it on the daily. All I want is dubs. You know what I'm on. I've been chasing after paper. All I know is run money marathon.
Do 5 years of this and be a millionaire and go on do what I want to do, have kids, go live my chip and joy in the games life out here in Texas, or struggle for the next 10 years. The choice is yours.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast. Our goal of this podcast is to normalize black wealth and share helpful resources and tips we believe will be useful in attaining and maintaining generational wealth. Please feel free to rate and comment on our podcast. We would love to hear all feedback you have. Now, enjoy the show.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast. David BWR, 1/4 of the Black Wealth Renaissance, checking in with my co-host. Fellas, how y'all feeling?
What's good? What's good? It's your boy Jalen checking in, man. I'm feeling good, man. How the rest of y'all doing, bro?
What's good, everybody? Kelly checking in. How you doing, Jared?
My bad, bro. What's good? What's good, y'all? I'm checking in, man. Chilling, man. Chilling on this good Saturday. Man. Finally getting some good weather.
Hey, that's so true, bro. It finally does look good outside because it was ugly.
Looking bad out here in Louisiana.
Oh,
You dealing with some snow out here in West Texas.
Yeah, Kelly, you've been having a terrible week. You.
Yeah, but once again, y'all, yet another very special episode. We got a brother out of South Carolina, killing it in the real estate game. Goes by the Real Estate Shark on Instagram. Mr. Josh Jennings. Josh, how you feeling, bro?
I'm doing great, man. How you guys doing?
We good, bro. Man, appreciate you for coming on, bro.
Oh, man, no doubt, man. I'm honored, man. I'm honored to be on you guys' show, man.
Yes, sir, man. And just wanted to let y'all know he ain't got that name, the Shark, for nothing, man. Like, he really going hard, bro. And he was just talking to us off camera. It's just really some dope things that, like, what he was doing, bro. So we're really just going to let it hop into, can you tell the audience, how'd you get started? How did you become the Real Estate Shark?
Well, man, so basically, man, how I got started was when I was 28 years old. I just made a mind shift, and I pretty much started sacrificing, man, when it came to knowing where I wanted to be in life. When I realized that nothing was going to be handed to me, that's when I realized that, hey, man, it's going to be either I'm going to get it or I'm going to just kick over and fold over, and kick over and fold over. I was not going to go for that. So anyway, I was working a lot of dead-end jobs, like manufacturing plants, and basically they can fire you when they get ready and letting you go and all that good stuff. And so I just started, man, by investing in real estate, becoming a buy and hold investor. I pretty much knew if I got to 4 properties that I was going to be pretty much averaging, $700 a week. And then I wouldn't have to be scared or fearful no more about getting, fired from a job or whatnot. But as far as the sacrificing part of it, I remember working 3 jobs at one time, just sacrificing, working, and busting my behind, man, going to work. And I got to the point where I knew that it was going to be around, I say, $15,000 to $20,000 in order for me to buy my first investment property. You know, I'm not talking about leveraging. So what I did was, when I went on sacrifice mode, I didn't buy no more clothes. I didn't buy no more shoes. I didn't celebrate no birthdays. I didn't celebrate no Christmas. I got off of Instagram. No, I wasn't even on Instagram then. I just got on Instagram, I think, last year. But I got off social media, Facebook, got off everything. I was just in my own little cocoon. But what I was doing was I was grinding and I was saving $300 a week. Now, mind you, the same time I was in school, going to school for a maintenance degree, for a maintenance certification. And I'm in school, I'm saving my money, I'm saving $300 a week. At this particular time, my paycheck wasn't about $475, but all the jobs pretty much combined, it's about $475 a week. So I'm living off $175 a week. You know, that's why I told myself, you know, it had to be pretty much death in order for me to dig into the $300 a week pot, you know. So I was going to school at the same time. And you know, when you get your refund money, when I got my refund money, you're talking about $1,200, $1,300. I was putting that on top of the $300. I continued to put the $300 up for a whole year, along with my school money, my refund money. And I was able to save up about $22,000 my first year. And after that, I bought my first real estate investment property for $9,500 off a website called auction.com. Now, I bought my first property. It was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath property. And it took a good bit of work because they had done pulled all the electrical wiring out, holes in the wall. You know, it was pretty beat up, but it was my first property. So I was excited. You know what I mean? So I spent about $19,000 out the little $22,000 that I had saved up. So basically what I did then was I put a Section 8 tenant in the property. And mind you, while I was a Section 8 tenant myself, I was Section 8 renting out a Section 8 property. Now, I did the same thing again the next year. I saved my money. I was going to school, and I saved up again about $24,000. I bought my next property from a local foreclosure auction that we have at the courthouse in this particular market. That's the first Monday of every month. So now I got 2 properties, and I'm excited. I got a tenant in this particular property for $600 a month. I got one in my first property for $700 a month. So then what I quickly realized is, hold up, I'm basically going broke buying these properties. I'm using all my cash to buy these properties. Then I realized how to start using other people's money, OPM. So what I did was I cash out refinanced both of those properties because I owned them all cash. I owned them all outright. I didn't owe anybody. So I cash out refinanced both of those 2 properties. I put $120,000 in my pocket. And then from that point on, everything else was just uphill. I went out and bought 4 more rental properties, all cash. And then I continued to, you know, keep going and keep growing. And that's how I was able to build, you know, my portfolio with over 28 properties now. I'm trying to get into it.
I told y'all you was hungry, bro. I told y'all. Yeah, man, it's like so much we got to go back.
I bought my first property online at auction.com. And I was in class looking at my professor. I'm looking at my phone. He up there teaching, and I bought my first property. And when they told me that you won the auction, I ran out the classroom. I think you probably thought I had to go to the restroom or something, but I went out. I was so excited because you said you are the winning bidder. And man, I didn't know how to act, man, after that.
Wow, that's crazy.
It was lit, bro.
Man.
One thing before we go into anything, bro, like, I know y'all just heard this amazing story, and I know y'all heard how this played out for my brother, but I don't want anybody to pass over the part we talking about this sacrifice. Everything. That staying in your own lane, that shit's so major. Man.
Hell
yeah. It was a real sacrifice, man. I'm talking about not buying no clothes, no shoes, not celebrating nothing. I mean, going to get a $1 burger if I had to try to make it. My girlfriend at the time, she was on food stamps, so that's how we was, you know, I was basically staying with her. You know how that worked with the food stamp, Section 8, all that kind of stuff. So I was just staying with her basically, and I told her that we weren't going to be celebrating no more birthdays, no Christmas, no nothing. I mean, she my wife now, and it was all worth the sacrifice. It was all worth the grind because she was right there with me, and you know, it's so hard because the first thing other women see is their friends going on vacation and friends going on trips. And you as a man, you see your buddies going on trips and vacation and things of that nature. And you have to be so focused, man, and so aware because you got to know pretty much where you headed, where you going. And you can't worry about what your friends telling you or what your friends saying, hey, man, we're going to the club tonight. Do you want to come hang out? It's a lot, man. You're going to lose some friends in the process because your vision is just so much out there, till it's just ridiculous. And a lot of people, they never change their ways. They'll continue to live the same way over and over, year in, year out. 10 years later, they're doing the same thing. And you just, you can't think the same. You have to be able to elevate yourself.
So did you initially...
McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles in the overworld. Now for a limited time, you can get one of 6 McDonald's collectibles when you order a Minecraft movie meal. With your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Available now in a biome near you. Oh, and at your local McDonald's. I participate in McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.
Get some backlash from her for that though.
From which one?
Did you have, whenever you broke it down to look, this is what we about to do. Cause I know women, I know it's not just that's not
right.
Hey, let's do it.
It was not that simple. I wish she was here now. She actually on the way. She actually headed here. But no, it was a battle. Not too bad, but it was a battle pretty much throughout the process because we got to the point where I had to actually sit her down at the table and explain pretty much year by year what my vision was. And once she saw, okay, man, he bought the first property. Okay, another property. Now it's another property. So she know I wasn't just sacrificing for nothing. So once you can see it and touch it, she then realized this man is for real, and then at that time, I wasn't going out buying nothing, no Gucci, no new car, no nothing. I had 2 old cars. I had an old Cadillac that was paid off, and I had an old Taurus that was paid off. But I'm looking at these young guys and older guys and, people pull up beside you, but you in this old car with no air conditioner, no heat. But it's to me, it was just a sacrifice and a grind. And you look at other people, they pull up beside you in the new cars. You like, I salute you, but you have a bigger vision, man. You have a bigger goal at hand. And once everything started turning, man, it was just ridiculous. It only took me really 1 year of sacrificing.
Man,
that was it.
That's crazy. You talked about.
I'm talking about analyzing everything. Analyzing all your bills. The bills that you have that don't make sense. Get them out of there. It don't even matter. Live off the bare minimum. Save as much as you can save and have a vision and gain knowledge at the same time while you're saving your money.
This man is preaching right here. Kelly, what you add?
You talked about buying the property on auction.com. How did you hear about auction.com? I didn't even know that was a thing that you can just go online and find an auction.
I think nobody never told me about auction.com. I think it was more so of going online and checking out just online auctions, seeing if that even exists. Mm-hmm. And then once I found that one out, I found out about auction.com. I found out about hubzu.com. I found out about exome.com. Found out about hudsonandmarshall.com. So it's a lot of online platforms that a lot of older investors, they don't deal with as far as in my markets. A lot of time when I bid on properties online, it's pretty much me and maybe one other person. It's not a whole lot of competition. And I think that's so beautiful because you're not dealing with agents. You're not dealing with a real estate agent that can up the price because they want a higher commission. These are basically just what the bank want. They want their reserve met. And a lot of times you can get properties without the reserve being met. Reserve is pretty much what the lowest the bank would take for it. And you will see that on auction.com, once you sign up.
So how did you learn, what made you say, okay, real estate is the way I want to get out? And what did that self-educating process look like for you?
So I say real estate was going to be my way. So, man, I just remember sitting in the car crying and trying to figure out what I can do with my life. Because basically I was playing minor league baseball before I hurt my shoulder. And I always just wanted to get back to that mold, to that level. And I know that the biggest thing out there would have been real estate. You know, that's the biggest thing to me at that time in my way of thinking. It wasn't no other career that I could get into that would be able to put me in a position I'm in now, as far as basically being retired, you know. But I just went for it, man. I mean, I just went for it, and I had confidence in learning, and I just knew where I wanted to be. You know, I knew where I wanted out of life, and it wasn't working a job, you know, until I'm 62 or 63. That was just something that I didn't want to do, you know.
What you got, Jared?
I have a question about it. So when you were telling us a story earlier, you were saying that you rented your house out, the first rental out to Section 8. What made you want to do Section 8 versus just regular conventional renting it out? Because a lot of people, you know, they have, you know, preconceived notions, let me put it like that, about Section 8 renters.
Right. To be honest with you, I think maybe that was at that time was like a first come, first serve type deal. And she pretty much called me up and she said, I got a voucher, and the voucher is $700 a month. And she told me she had a voucher. She came out, looked at the property. Then the Section 8 people, they came out to make sure the house met code and all that good stuff. And that was pretty much it, man. I just went with it, you know. More so like a first come, first serve. I felt like the Section 8 tenants was already screened by Section 8 already. And they already was admitted into the program. So I just went ahead and just went with it. I think it was more so first person that could put some money in my pocket. Let's see how we can get this thing started type deal.
Yeah, I like that mentality because that's something that a lot of people are scared to do with a lot of stuff. Like especially in real estate, they're scared to take that first deal with their money, just trying to opt for looking for better, looking for more, trying to get greedy. Like, man, fuck it, just whoever is the first person that got it, let me take it, let me get my feet wet so I know what I'm doing.
Right. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, that tenant is still into that property right now.
Damn.
And she only paid $211 a month.
Damn.
But Section 8 paid the rest for it.
That's crazy. So, like, how long ago was that? How many years ago?
This is about 8 years ago.
Man.
8 years ago. And the thing is, I take care of my tenants, man. It's crazy. I take care of them. Christmas time come. Depends. If they rent a whole year and pay their rent on time, Christmas time, I don't charge them at all. Let them have the whole month off for Christmas. So they can use that money for the kids. You know. And that's pretty much the agreement that I have pretty much with all the tenants. If I don't have in other words, if I ain't have to spend a whole lot of money on you and you making your money, your rent on time, paying your rent on time, you get the whole month off for December, you know. And they love that. I treat them with the utmost respect. Anytime we have any problems, issues, anytime I get a phone call, I have somebody there, Johnny on the spot, getting the job done, getting it fixed. And, you know, they just appreciate. I don't look at them as tenants. I look at them as an extended family because I wouldn't want to live in somewhere that's treated like a dump. I wouldn't want to stay in nowhere where this person don't come fix nothing or help me, help with certain things. So I look at it the same way. You know, a lot of people look at it a little bit different, but to me, I look at it as if these are their houses, but at the same time, we got an agreement that I take care of them and I keep the maintenance up and I manage it. You know, it's just a partnership. It's doing both of us well. You guys are paying me rent every month and I'm giving you guys a very nice place to stay, every month. So it's just working hand in hand.
Hey, I love it, bro. So now I want to kind of get into the business side of the real estate. So how many doors did you say you have now?
28.
So you got 28 doors. So, and you say you personally manage everything yourself, right?
Well, me and my assistant, I got one assistant that pretty much handle a lot of groundwork, but yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Okay, so you pretty much just integrated straight through the company where you just take care of everything. So what does that look like on a normal day-to-day basis? If you just would say what a regular day, if you did have one, what does that look like for someone who would say, man, I kind of want to do what he's doing. I want to live like Josh, but they don't actually know. They just see the glamour side. What would that actual business side look like?
Well, of course, the other side of the coin would be a lot of repairs that needs to be done. And don't get me wrong. I have a couple of crews and I have a couple of handymen that I can call. But then at sometimes they may be tied up on another job or another project. And maybe they can't get there right then and there on the spot. So, me having to call 3 or 4 other, qualified handymen that I work with to be able to, fix and address a problem or issue. When tenants move out of properties, sometimes they can leave them a complete mess. I'm talking about, I've seen maggots in refrigerators that you have to clean out, carpets that have to be pulled out because of, of real bad smells. I mean, the list goes on. Sometimes if a tenant is late with rent, filling out eviction notices, just different little things, you have your ins and outs. Now, one good thing is I don't have to deal with that quite often, but you have to be there to kind of manage certain things or have somebody in place to manage certain things. At one point, I almost got my insurance taken off for one of my properties because I didn't realize the tenant had so much trash and debris and stuff in the backyard till, even a situation like that where your insurance company will call you and say, basically, we're going to get rid of your insurance if, we don't get the debris and all that kind of stuff, cleaned up, fixed up, So it's, you got to treat it. I mean, you got to treat it like a business, and you got to make sure that, all your properties in good standing, good shape, especially Section 8 properties. And that's pretty much it, man. I mean, it's you have your good days, you can have your bad days, but for the most part, my good days overdo my bad days because I can sit home and not have nothing to do. And for the most part, I don't work on my properties personally. A lot of time when I do my fix and flips, I may drive to my properties and I'll do, certain things. I may pressure wash my own house or do certain little things to kind of cut costs. But for the most part, I'm pretty much free, man. Just ride around and look at properties, hit the gym, things like that.
So you just mentioned another important thing I wanted to touch on, the fix and flips, because I remember you told us you did some off camera. What did that first one look like for you? Because I know a lot of people, they say that first flip is that monster. You learned a lot.
Yeah, man. So when I found out about private lenders, right? So that's where a lot of people who want to get into real estate investing as cash buyers, they don't realize that a lot of cash buyers don't necessarily mean that they have tons of money in the bank. Don't get me wrong, they have money in the bank, but the biggest thing is having access to money, picking up the phone and making one phone call to have access to, $100,000, $120,000, $150,000. But to go back to answer your question, the first flip that I ever done, it was an old property. It was abandoned property. I was just basically driving around, and I knew the owners. She was an elderly lady, and she had 3 daughters, and they stayed in Atlanta. So I reached out to them on Facebook, and I said, "Hey, your mom old house. Are you guys interested in selling it?" At first, it was, "No, we're not interested in selling it." I'm saying this house is the ugliest house on the block. Like it just look bad. You guys want to go ahead and sell this. When the last time y'all been down here to check this property out? And so anyway, some time went by, maybe 6-7 months went by. Then they hit me up and she said, "Well, Mama want to sell the house." I said, "Okay. Well, what's some numbers that you guys are looking at? In order to buy the house?" She said, "I don't know. You just give us the number." I said, "Well, it's a nice brick house. It's beat up pretty bad." I said $10,000. And she said, "No, I'm sorry." I said $8,000. She said, "Well, I was hoping we can get a little bit more than that. What about 12? And I said, "Well, I think the best I can do on this one is 10. So then we made arrangements, $10,000, put the property on the contract, sent it over to my attorneys. And me already knowing, I already knew that this house and the property and all that good stuff is worth $150,000. So I got it for 10, and I already knew if I put about $35,000 to $40,000 into this house, then we're gonna be in position to go ahead and flip this money, and we're gonna be in position to be all in for $50,000 and sell the house, for $150,000. So anyway, what I did was got the house, purchased the house from them, got the house fixed up, basically just put it on the market. Because I had a person that was going to do my roof. Well, basically, I had a person that did the whole house. They did the whole house for me. But he subcontracted the roof and did the heat and air and all that good stuff. So this house, I upgraded this house completely, 100%. and sold it, man, for a big deal. You know,
So you put 35 into it, and you made $105,000 on top. Well, no, you put 45 in all together. Came out with 105K profits after set. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's pressure.
Yeah, that was the first one, man, and then that was like, it was crazy, man. But I tell a lot of people that your real wealth comes in at owning the property, and I became a master at the BWR strategy. I want to say pretty much before I even realized it was called the BWR strategy. You know, so basically, you buy a particular piece of real estate. So now, for example, let me break it down like this. Let's see. Let's just go back to, I'm going to say the property I just purchased before this other one. So let's say this. I bought this property for $37,500, right? I bought this property for $37,500. As a matter of fact, I got a video on one of my feeds on Instagram that's showing the check that I used to buy this particular property. So I bought it for $37,500, brick house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I just got that house appraised last week, and it came back at $124,000, right? Now, when I bought it for $37,500, only thing I did was gut out one of the master bed. I got out the master bathroom, put a new bathroom in there basically, and everything else was pretty much good to go. I painted all the walls, and that was pretty much it. So now I'm in the position now we're doing a cash out refinance on that property. So I'm not sure if you guys understand how the cash out refinance process works. So I got the house for $37,500, right? Now I put a tenant. Well, first of all, I rehabbed the house. I fixed it up. Fixed up the bathroom, paint the walls, did all that good stuff. Now I'm putting a tenant into this property at $900 a month. And then now I'm going to refinance this property, and I'll be getting up to 75% of the actual price, which is $124,000. So if we do the math on that, so we say the house is worth $124 times 75%, that's $93,000 that they'll write me a check for. Well, let me take this back. It won't be necessarily 93 because you're gonna have different fees that come out, title searches
and all that stuff.
Yeah, title searches, lawyer fees, all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna just deduct $6,000 off of this whole 93. So I'll be getting a check pretty much cut out for me for $87,000. You know, and I'm gonna keep the tenant in the property, still paying me $900 a month. I'm gonna get a check for $87,000 that I can do whatever I want to do with it. But of course, I'm going to put it back into real estate to invest more in real estate. And that's the BWR strategy. So you buy the property.
Cash flowing on that property.
Yeah, I'm still cash flowing on it because my rent on that particular property is probably going to be about $530-something, a month. And I'm making $9.
Whenever you burn out, are you doing shorter term mortgages, like 15-year mortgages?
30 years.
Okay.
30 years. So you buy the property, you rehab the property, you rent the property out, and you refinance the property. And then you pretty much just repeat the process. And that's what I did my first 2 properties I ever done. And, continue to build capital and grow my portfolio along with fixing and flipping properties.
So with that, though, I know sometimes I've heard some people, argue, don't BWR because you're over leveraged and everything. If there's some inexperienced investors that are listening to this, what's some steps they need to take to actually make sure that they over leverage?
Okay. Well, the biggest thing I do is when I look at a property, I first look at it, do I like the property? And then pretty much I'll look at the price of the property. So I'm what you call a tier 3 real estate investor. So when you're a tier 3 real estate investor, you only have to put down 10% of the actual price to buy the property and to fix the property up. You don't have to put down 10%, and the private lenders are, fund the rest of the 90% basically. But what I would tell them is to actually make sure you make an equity your best friend, because you make money on the buy. You make money when you buy the property. You don't make money waiting on to see if the economy is going to fluctuate or for me, if I think maybe if I was in some big high markets like New York or like, LA or somewhere, then I may be investing and looking more so at the market to fluctuate, economy up and down type stuff. But for me, I make money on the buy. So I know usually I buy properties 35 to 40% on the dollar. So I already know that I got a huge equity spread of about $60,000 or better. You know, so when you're in a position like that, you don't worry a whole lot about over leveraging because the property is going to sell or the property definitely is going to rent, and you got a huge equity spread that you can always tap into, refinance that particular property if you ever want to put money in your pocket. You know, you got to know your market. Know if it's a renter's market. You know, it's just a lot to know. You know, if a lot of people is buying in that area, that may not be the best place to go and try to search for rental properties. You know, you want to be in an area where renting is very heavy, you know, and that's why they always say it's a lot of money in the hood because you're going to get cheap. You can get cheap properties. You're always going to have tenants, even if it's going to be Section 8 tenants, regular tenants. Everybody's always looking for a place to rent. And you can always use that same property that you got in the hood for $15,000 or $20,000 that everybody is running from. You buy it for $20 and it's worth $85 or $90, you know, and then you can always pull that money, that 75% of that $90,000 out to invest in other markets or to use that money to leverage to buy more fix and flips. Because when you do fix and flips, you do got to have some money, some skin in the game, you know. And like I say, with the 10%, the 20%, the closing costs, different little things, you're gonna have to have some type of, you know, some type of money, you know, to do fix and flips.
Hey, my brother been dropping gems on gems on gems, man.
For real, for real. And I do have another question.
The NBA playoffs are here, and I'm getting my bets in on FanDuel. Talk to me, Chuck GPT. What do you know?
All sorts of interesting stuff, even Charles Barkley's greatest fear.
Hey, nobody needs to know that.
New customers bet $5 to get $250 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
21 plus and present in Virginia. Must be first online real money wager. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I did kind of want to get into. So, what do you think? You just mentioned like it's gold in the hood, and a lot of people are always running from investing in the hood. What do you think the importance of us investing in our hoods, and what do you think that does to combat the narrative of gentrification?
Man, I tell you, I think the hood is just amazing, man. The hood is where all the gold is at. You see a lot of people want to run away from the hood, but that's why you realize that there's a lot of gentrification going on because they understand that the money and everything is right in the hoods. And usually the hood is right outside of a big metropolitan city. It's right outside of that. So they already know if they want the city to look good, they know that they have access and they have the right to appreciate this land to the skies because, like I said, it's right outside the big city. So if you make that a suburban area and you make that an area that's beautiful and you have tourists and everybody that come in, that's gold mine. You know, it's gold mine. Either way you look at it, it's gold mine. Even if you're not necessarily using that section to actually renovate a whole house, you could actually, as an investor, you could use it to have positive cash flow every month. And you can use it, like I always say, to take money out of that, put in your pocket, and use for whatever else you want to invest in, you know. So it's just amazing. I think a lot of us need to jump on board and, you know, come together. I mean, put your money together. There's a lot of investors out there, man, that, I don't know, man. I just think there's a lot of fluff going on when it comes to real estate investing, man. You got a lot of people saying they're doing this and they're doing that. They're making this, they're making that. But, I mean, it's not true, you know. That's why I don't mind doing certain things. I don't post every single check and stuff that I make. But at the same time, I want people to realize and know that I really do this, you know, in real life. You know, and you got a lot of people that just create courses just so people can buy into their courses. They become almost like a salesman. They're not real estate investors. They sell a course, they sell a program, and have people continue to buy. And that's how they make their living. They don't make their living off real estate. You know, it's weird to think about. It's weird to think about, man. It's like somebody coming up and saying, look, man, Instagram, I make $100,000 a week investing in real estate. The first person to hear that is going to believe it.
Yeah.
They can say, wow, I want to sign up to his program, to his course. Now his course $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000, and you ain't got nothing out the course.
But some basic information you could have found on YouTube.
You could have got it off YouTube, man. You could have got it off YouTube. It's sad though, man. It's sad because people are now, they need capital. They need capital. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if you want to wholesale properties, and that's a good way to get started, but wholesaling always keep you working. Wholesaling always keep you grinding. You're looking for the next deal. You got drive for dollars for this one. You got the PPC list for that one. You got to go down to the courthouse and get probate, or either look up probate on the phone. You know, it's just always keep you working and grinding. And I'm just so glad I never took that route. I used to always feel some kind of way about a wholesaler calling himself a real estate investor. Because to me, I think a real estate investor is somebody who invests their money in real estate for a long-term residual income. That's how I always look at it. But it's not my call to say what's an investor or what's not. I usually try to stay in my own lane and, you know, do what I got to do. But, I mean, people need capital. If you need capital, then you need to know the right private lenders to go to. You know, but they're not going to tell you that, though.
How do you find like a private lender or a hard money lender?
Well, to be honest with you, man, in order to find a private lender, a hard money lender, you need to partner up with somebody that actually does it for real, so they can introduce you to their private lenders, introduce you to their, you know, the people that they have access to. You know, right now I got 12. Now I do a one-on-one mentorship program that I introduce my students to, you know, my private lenders, you know, and once I reach out to them, and like I say, I'm a tier 3 investor with these companies, so it won't be a problem when I introduce them to one of my private lenders. They know that this student is in place. This student pretty much got all the debt to income ratio in line. The credit score is in line. You know, everything is pretty much in line in order for them to be able to excel and, you know, continue to grow. Because that's how I got started. You know, I didn't get started with wholesaling and things of that nature. But that's why I'm in the position I'm in now, and I can wake up when I get ready, because I don't have to worry about hustling and bustling for, you know, for money. You know, I more so attract money rather than chase money. You know.
A boy. We're gonna get y'all got something, Kelly or Jared?
I just have a question on, like, how did you learn the ins and outs of, like, the real estate business as far as, like, valuating the property? How'd you know what your income ratio or debt to income ratio should be when you're doing these refinances? What was the course I guess you took to learn that process?
Well, to be honest with you, man, I never took a course. So this is what I did when I was sacrificing. I went to the local banks and I spoke with the lenders at the bank. I pretty much told them what I wanted to do, what was my vision, right? So at the same time, I also realized that these local banks, these traditional regular banks, they couldn't help me. But I knew that they were going to put me in position to be able to deal with private lenders, you know, if I had to ever deal with them. And that was pretty much my goal and plan, to be able to leverage my money. But I used to went to the bankers, man. I tell a lot of people, don't be scared to walk in there. If you bank with Bank of America, walk in Bank of America, go in there, speak with a representative or whatever, talk to them and tell them your plan for next year. And it's almost like schoolwork. It's almost like school. They're going to give you all the ins and outs when it comes to your credit score, when it comes to your debt to income ratio, when it comes to just different things. And if you can pass that test, the private lenders would be a walk in the park. Because when you're getting traditional funding from the bank, they got to go through Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae in order to get money. When you're dealing with private lenders, you don't have to, you know, they don't deal with the government. The money don't come from the government. That's how you're able to get the money real quick within 2 to 3 weeks, you know, compared to going to a regular bank. First of all, if a real estate investor ever tell you that they can go to a regular Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and all these type of places to get funding for investment properties, they're not a real estate investor. They're lying. Because those banks, they would never fund you money to be able to buy investment properties. They don't do that. You got to go to banks that specialize in real estate investors. And that's more so private lenders, hard money lenders, you know. And then you have some banks that do it, but you really don't want to go that route, because the very first time I did my refinance, it was with a company. But one of the first times I did refinance, it was with a company called Movement Mortgage. Movement Mortgage, they've done it, and they more so like they're not a traditional bank, but they're a bank, but that like a typical bank. They're the Freddie Mae, Freddie Mac, all those guys. They got to go to the top to get their money to be able to, give it to you. So with that being said, it's so much you got to have in line and situated before they even lend you money. And then it's going to show up on your personal credit report. That debt going to show up on your personal credit report. If you refinance a property in your personal name, it's going to show up on your credit report. The stuff that I do now, everything is in my business. None of that shows up on my personal credit report. So that's always a big plus, a big difference,
Last section? Yeah. So we're going to get to our last section of the podcast. It's what's on your timeline, my brother. So we just want to know anything that you saw on your timeline. It could be funny, something important, just anything you felt like speaking on. So whatever you got, my brother. And if you need a few minutes to scroll and see.
Let me see, man. Well, I tell you what, the whole Gayle King situation.
Yeah, man.
That was that was something to that was interesting, man. I don't know, man. I feel sorry for Kobe's family that had to hear, these negative comments and negative responses about something like that. We all human. We all make mistakes. You know what I mean? But that's nothing that I thought she should have put on a major platform like that to talk about.
Yeah, then like especially that too little too late response talking about some I'm embarrassed, but like the videotape don't lie. Like you in here pressing about the shit like, yo,
right.
You do it. You trying to insinuate it, and it's like at this point you can't even honestly try to act like you didn't intend to do this. So yeah, so
right.
Gayle, like she out of the wall. She I ain't fucking with Gayle no more. She out of my
right.
Hey, y'all hear Snoop response?
I thought I did hear Snoop response, man. I think I forgot what it said though, but I think I did hear something. You had on the jersey, right? Didn't you have on the Kobe jersey?
Yeah.
But I forgot what he said.
What did he say, Jared?
Man, look, hey, we ain't gonna get into all that.
I'm about to go look at it.
We just gonna leave it at he went a little ham, but I was just gonna ask how y'all felt about that too.
I see it.
Man, Snoop in his own world, man. So Snoop gonna let it be known how he feels.
Real life.
About to look it up right now.
Look at this dude. He trying to find it.
Man, I was out of whack this whole week, man. He probably took it off.
Hey, people was mad.
What's some things y'all got to ask me, man, as far as like some more real estate stuff, man? I know y'all want to know, man. I know y'all hungry, man. What's up, man? Ask me anything you want to know, except certain things you have to pay for. But for the most part, man, y'all can ask me whatever y'all want to ask me, man. Like I said, man, I'm honored to be on y'all show, man, and drop some jewels, man. Drop some gems,
I got a question. You suggest being the best route to do an out-of-state investor?
You said what would be the best route to help them?
Yeah, well, what is the best route to being an out-of-state investor?
Okay, well, the biggest thing is, so now you got wholesalers calling themselves real estate investors, which they are, I guess, in a sense. They are real estate investors. You got buy and hold investors, and you got fix and flip investors. So when you ask that question, you more so speaking on like a buy and hold type investor, or?
Yeah, a buy and hold.
Okay. So I think the biggest thing is just to make sure that, I will more so say, make sure that you actually have eyes on that particular property before you buy it. Because sometimes when you're looking online and all that good stuff, you see a totally different ball game. Even if you use Google Maps, you look down the road, when you actually go to a property in person, sometimes it could be completely different from what you thought you saw online. I actually been in a situation where I bought a property off of auction.com. It was listed 3-bedroom, 2 baths. However, I still bought the property because I didn't have interior access to get into the property. Because a lot of these auctions, they don't allow you to go inside of them. Mm-hmm. So when I went there to the auction, it was a 3-bedroom, 2 bath. I'm thinking I'm buying a 3-bedroom, 2 bath for a good price. When I actually got inside the property and look at it, it was a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Now, what they did was they tore out one of the bedrooms and made it like a area where you put like a fireplace, and they did some modifications to the house. But only thing that everybody knew that it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So, you know, it's I'm gonna give y'all a big secret, man. I'm gonna give y'all a big gem, man. A real big gem. And this goes for any type of real estate investor too. I don't know if I should share it, but I'm gonna share it. So they got these people called property preservation people, right? And these property preservation people, they have keys to get inside pretty much all REO, all government type properties.
Mm-hmm.
So when you order your own property preservation keys, then when you go look at these properties that's bank owned, you don't got to worry about breaking no windows to get inside or trying to break in through the door. You can just walk inside the house, look at the property, fully evaluate it, and say, okay, well, I know I'll go as high as, $55,000 on this property. I already see that this property already needs $10,000 worth of work, So basically, you got an upper edge on pretty much all your competition, or all your, people that's, in your market that's, buying properties or whatever too, because you got a heads up on them because you're actually been inside the property. You're already going to tally up your numbers as far as how much work need to be done. So you're in a pretty good space. And I've been doing that for years. I ordered these keys. Now, don't get me wrong. It could be considered against the law in a sense. But if you're a real estate investor, the worst part is somebody going to come out, they're going to call the sheriff out. You explain to the sheriff, hey, look, I'm in the process of buying this property. And they'll let you walk, But for the most part, you should be in pretty good shape to walk in and out of a house. You shouldn't have to throw a party there and have everybody there in the world. You pretty much in there to handle business and you back out, And it just gave me a great edge a lot of times. Like I say, a lot of properties that you see that's even out of state, you will go and you can, you purchase these properties online. But I think the biggest thing to answer your question is to actually make sure you have, feet on the ground, that you're actually doing it. Or you have somebody that you trust that can take pictures for you, updated pictures, so you know pretty much what you're buying. And you also need to know your market, that area where you're buying that property at. You need to know pretty much your comps. You need to know where 2 houses down, 3 houses down, that's 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So how do they measure up with your property? So you can pretty much know the after repair value. You can also go to your local county online and you can go to like the GIS mapping. You can look at pretty much what the county assessed that property at. So it's different ways you can tell pretty much the upside of a property, your comps, or you can even hire your appraiser to go out there and just give you an appraisal price on it. A typical appraisal price might be $325, but at the same time, if you don't have no idea at all, call an appraiser to go out there and look how much money you paying him $325, but you can't look at the $325 you're paying him. You more so need to look at the information he just gave me. He just really gave me all my comps. He done gave me 71 pages full of documents about this particular property and the land. And that was only like $350, $375, whatever it is. Usually it's about that much, about $375 to $400. And I got all the information on this property, so I know the real life after repair value on this property, because the appraiser can do that. They'll give you an actual price of the property right now in its current condition, and he'll give you a price as far as when you fix it up and get it repaired and fixed up, a price. So it's very beneficial to do that also, and just pretty much know your equity spread, man. That's the biggest thing for me.
Man, it pays to know how to purchase knowledge. That's a real thing.
Hell yeah. I was just looking at auction.com. They got some good shit on there.
Yeah, you go to auction.com and type in your city. Or type
I just did.
Type in your county, and you will see all those properties short. Those are bank-owned property.
Man.
Those bank-owned property.
Thank you, sir.
And another one is like Hubzu, HUBZU.
Okay.
That's another awesome one that I bought some properties from.
So, okay, I have one more thing with the bank-owned properties. So, do you see any more challenges buying bank-owned properties than other ones? Do they end up being in worse condition normally or better condition than whenever you buy just like off the fair street market?
Well, one thing about bank-owned properties, they usually have a property preservation team that will go through there and fix up little things here and there for them. So that's different from buying a property that you want to buy from as a wholesale type deal. and the owner of the property stays in New York, and there was left a property in South Carolina, they'll never go back and, fix up the debt. They'll never go back and fix up that broken rental that was broken up, or do certain things. Lease bank-owned properties, usually they be already cleaned out, trashed out. Usually don't be no trash inside of them. They usually, if it's 2 steps missing on the front porch, they have a property preservation person that goes there, fix the 2 steps on there. So to answer your question, I feel that you will get more bang for your buck by buying a bank-owned property than you would as far as buying a property wholesale. But don't get me wrong, it's a lot of great deals wholesale too. But if you're a wholesaler, you're not keeping the property unless you do like a hotel deal, and then they buy the property as a wholesale and bring it inside and rent it out, or fix it and flip it, or do what they want to do. But a lot of people are just wholesalers. That means they're going to pass that property on to a cash buyer, such as myself. So, bank owned probably would be the best, but they got property preservation people that will come out and clean that property up and all that good stuff.
Damn, for sure. So anybody that's trying to get into real estate, definitely y'all go and look into these resources. Man,
yeah,
Josh,
my man's just dropped
so many gems.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, man, it's very simple, right? So the biggest thing is knowing how much equity you got in the property when you buy it. You can go to some place, like I just said, like auction.com. You can see when the auction about to come up on the property. It's an online auction. You got to register and all that good stuff. And when you buy this, for example, you buy that property for $55. First of all, you already know when it's coming up in the auction. So go view that property. You can go look at it, and I already told you the ways you can go inside and look at it if you want, if you choose that route. If not, you can look through the windows or, whatever floats your boat. And then you look at that particular property. The next thing you want to do after that is look at the after repair value of that property. Now, once you look at the property, it's a decent property. The after repair value in that particular property, for example, is $150,000. Now, auction.com, the auction has started.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. It's tax season, and we're all a bit tired of numbers. But here's one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now here's a good number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it. Guaranteed. Save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Now, you already know that a house is valued about $150,000 once you fix it up. So you want to be in the range of about 35 to 40% with buying that particular property from $150,000. So to answer that question, what that number need to be, I'll say $150,000. Now, you might want to go up as high as, now, on what I got, I'm saying $67,500. But you might want to go up to, just say, $71,000, $72,000. You still got good room, still got a lot of good equity built up in that property. So now you go up on the auction and you go all the way up to, just say, $80,000. The property is worth $150,000 minus $80,000. You got $70,000 spread of equity you got right there in that particular property. Now, when you actually purchase this property and you don't have the whole $70,000 to do it, you can use private lending. That you can use the private lending for that particular property to buy that property and to fix the property up. So, for example, the property is going for $80,000. You already know it's going to take you about $20,000 of work to put in that property to get it like you want to. So now you at $100,000. You go get a loan from a private lender. You put down 20%. They'll furnish the rest. For me, it's only 10%, and they'll furnish the 90%. But so they furnish the whole remaining of the money. They'll fix the house up for you. They do all that good stuff. And when I say fix it up for you, I mean basically you fix it up, you pay for it. They cut you a check for what you say you done, basically throughout your whole property. So once they fix it up, get everything ready, you put the house up for sale. Now you have to pay them back that money that they lend you. For example, if the house going for $150,000, they let you borrow $100,000. So basically, you pay them back their $100,000, and you keep the remainder minus closing costs and all that stuff. And it's going to be a little interest to that too. So there might be $103,000 you might owe them back out of the $150,000. So now you got $47,000 left over then you have to pay out your lawyer fees, all that good stuff, all your attorney fees. So you're still going to walk away with probably about $40,000 out the deal, and you just made $40,000.
And that's somebody's salary.
Right.
Let's not keep that. Let's talk like it lightly. That's somebody's salary. So for sure.
In one deal, man. In one deal.
One deal could change your life.
One deal, man.
Yeah, you got.
And that was just always the way I did it, man. I always just kind of did it that way.
Yeah, this man Jalen over here looking on auction.com showing me deals. Man, you got us hungry and excited.
Man,
it's working, man. I'm telling you, man. It's a gold mine. It's just a matter of finding that right. If you don't have the cash on you personally, finding that right private lender that you work with, build a relationship with, and they'll pretty much, give you, like I said, up to, 80% of the deal. You just got to make sure your credit scores are in pretty good shape, your debt to income ratio. They want to see how long you had money is in the bank. You want to look at the last 2 months bank statements. Once they look at the last 2 months bank statements, see that you had the right reserves in the bank. Your credit score is pretty good. Your LLC is in good standing. See, a lot of times that's stuff people ain't gonna tell you about. Your LLC got to be in good standings. You can't have no liens. You can't have no judgments. Everything got to be, in pretty good shape with your LLC. And then once you got those 3 or 4 factors together, you're pretty much ready to close, man. And you're doing like a cash out refinance or something like that.
Hey, I love it.
It's very easy, man. It's very easy and simple, but it's deep too. You got to think a little bit too. But yeah, I had a lot of investors. They go from wholesaling and they want to go to be a cash buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that's separating them is basically the capital. They don't know how to actually obtain the capital to be able to hold on to a property for ownership for the rest of their life and their kids' life and everybody else's life.
And that's the important part, passing it on to your kids and making sure that it lasts for generations, man.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. See, a lot of times, I'm gonna ask you this question right quick. How many times can any one of us go and get a college loan? Pretty easy, right? To go to school, so they let you get in that debt for hundreds of thousands of dollars. But then you want to get into, for example, good debt. So it's the difference between good debt and bad debt. To me, buying a new car and all that stuff, things that are going to depreciate over time, that's considered bad debt.
Mm-hmm.
But see, now they don't let everybody get in debt. They only let, if you think about this and think about it right, they only let the rich get in debt. And when I say debt, I mean good debt, right? So if you want to start, for example, if I ask you right now, if you want to start a nice big restaurant and the restaurant is going to cost like $1.3 million to get started,
mm-hmm.
how are you going to come up with the money? You're going to have to go in debt in order to be able to purchase this restaurant, get it running, hire your whole staff, everything for the 1.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
But most people think that they have to come out their pocket or they have to save a certain amount of money to get started in certain situations like that. The whole kill is using other people's money. So you have to go in debt. We've always been taught to get out of debt, stay out of debt, but I think my biggest thing is I don't want the dumb debt. I don't want car debt. I don't want jewelry debt. I don't want a bunch of like unnecessary debt. I want debt that's going to allow me to be able to get rich. A debt that's going to allow you to be able to grow.
Mm-hmm.
When they say Donald Trump is trillions of dollars in debt or billions of dollars in debt, that's because he go in debt to get money that who paid back. We do when we go to his hotel,
mm-hmm.
Or whatever it is that they're starting up. So it's about getting in debt and then letting people pay your debt down. If you're starting a big brand new Walmart, they didn't do that out of their pocket. You build a big old building like that, but who paid the debts off? We do. We go in there and buy this and buy that, buy socks, whatever we buy from out of Walmart. We just cutting the debt down. That's just like having a mortgage on the property. When your tenant is paying you every month, they just paying down your debt. And then in due time, it allow you to be able to take all the money that they put in and refinance that money for another big chunk of money to put somewhere else to make more money work for you.
Just a big ass game. That's all it is.
It's a big game of a people that has access to be able to get in debt. It sounds crazy, but when you have access to get in debt, I mean, okay, I see a mobile home park right now that I'm interested in. And the mobile home park is 1.5 million, right? But I know I only have to put down 20% of that money in private lenders will, pay the rest. So if you're just a regular person, your first mind is going to say, okay, I have to come up with 1.3 million. No, you don't have to come up with 20% of that, And if you want 20% of it, have access to debt, have access to money, have access to capital. And that's what it all depends on. You got to have access to debt, access to capital. And it's crazy if you think about it, man, because everybody don't have access to getting debt, they won't allow them to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds crazy, right? So you think debt is a bad thing, but if it's a bad thing, why everybody can't get it? Why everybody complaining saying, man, they won't give me a loan, they won't give me a business loan, they won't give me this, they won't give me that. How you think?
Because they know you ain't gonna have the money to pay it back or the means to pay it back.
Right. You ain't qualified enough to be able to get in debt, sir. And how does that sound? You know what I mean? But they'll let you go to college for free. They'll let you get all kind of debt to go to college.
They'll let you go get that car loan real quick too.
That car loan too. I'm talking about real quick.
Shit.
So what that tell you? That tell you that they allow you to get in bad debt, but they will not allow you to get in good debt. Because we cry all day long, man, they won't give me a loan to be able to start this business. I can't start that business. Because you're not qualified enough in order for them, to pass the checklist. See, it's a checklist that you got to pass in order to be great, to be successful. So when you want to go talk to a banker, a private lender, anybody you want to talk to, you got to make sure your checklist is right, And the checklist could be, having your credit score right, your debt to income ratio right, money's in the bank, had money in the bank for longer than 2 months consistently to see how your business is flowing. LLC in good standing. The kind of list goes on. But once you understand those key points and components, and you got all those in perspective, everything else is smooth. Everything else is smooth sailing after that. But just realize that, though. Never be scared to get in debt. When you have enough knowledge about something, you won't be scared because you got confidence. With knowledge come confidence. So,
yeah,
that's major, man.
Hey, that's true. There's a lot of truth in everything you just said. And it's a message that a lot of people really, really do need to hear because we, like you said, we scared of that. We programmed to believe that that's not the way. And that's the mission of everything that we do with this is really trying to change our way of thinking, get away from all these misconceptions that we have about finance and about money and building wealth and really get ourselves in a space where we can start creating this wealth because the great wealth transfer is about to happen. I don't know if everybody paying attention, but a lot of people starting to kick the bucket. Then baby boom was getting up out of here.
Yeah,
a lot of them got a lot of the properties. As these people die, these properties going to become available. That's going to be our chance. Stop waiting on the economy, as you said, and start paying attention to the opportunities. Trying to get these properties on the 30 and 40%. Take the time to go educate yourself. For sure.
That's where it all boils down to, man.
For real. Man, well, Josh, we definitely appreciate you coming on the show, bro. You came through and dropped all the gems on the people. I need you to let them know where they can find you, what you got going on, all that. Just tell them everything, bro. Let them know what's popping.
Man, I want you guys to go ahead and follow me on Instagram at realestate.shark. That's realestate.shark, SHARK. And I mean, right now, I'm just busy, man. It's just ownership. When you get a large percent of money or a large chunk of money, you always want to put it somewhere where it's going to grow and make money and make it, make its own self continue to grow, So I invested 30% in the Juicy Crab franchise.
Oh, damn. Turn up.
Yeah. So I invested 30% in Juicy Crab franchise. I also, right now I got 2 commercial cleaning companies that I run and own, basically. And also with real estate, man, it's fixing and flipping properties. Got a large portfolio of rental properties, over 28 properties, over 27 properties. Because I just acquired one last week on a local foreclosure auction. And just working, man. Just want to help a lot of people, man. That's my biggest thing. Right now, I'm real comfortable where I need to be, and I want to continue to grow, continue to build. But I'm to the point now where I want to more so help people rather than continue to just, have it all in my own. But a lot of time when I reach out to other real estate investors and I talk to them about trying to grow, trying to build, I think a lot of them shy away from me just because I feel that they know I really do this in real life. And I think a lot of them feel like they're going to get exposed because if I'm next to you, if I'm talking to you, I'm going to find out the real you. You know what I mean? So, you know, I have all my proof. I have all my HUD statements. You know, a lot of these guys, they can't show you their first HUD statement, you know, but they can just talk about it. And a lot of this stuff is just, you know, invisible to the regular person, you know. But anyway, just working, man. Just working and grinding, leveraging money. And, you know what I'm saying? Just want to help people, man. Help people as much as I can, man. Just teach them that there's other ways. You don't have to always be the pro ball player in order to be able to make it. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, to be honest with you, I go out the VIP sections and stuff, man, and hang out. I'm right next to the same celebrities that, you know, a lot of people look up to. I can go sit floor seats at NBA games. I can live my life, you know, at a certain level, you know, and, you know, I ain't never played 1 year in the major leagues, NBA, NFL. But, you know, as far as NFL, they say, you know, all that stuff is like a dream. You know, you make it to the NFL, you make it to the NBA. It's a dream. So when you make it to your dream, that means it ain't going to last forever. But see, what I'm going to do is help a lot of those guys put money certain places so they can be set for the rest of their life. You know, I mean, those guys, one check, they can be able to buy a great deal of rental properties. So if you just instead of them buying jewelry and a bunch of crazy, unnecessary stuff, I mean, they can start using that money and start investing in real estate. By the time they retire, man, they can have over $500,000 a month. I mean, just off rental properties. If they do,
for real though.
You know, and I just want to help people, man, for the most part, because I don't make money off courses, and I don't make money off of creating programs so people can buy every day. Because I'm too busy working and grinding. I'm too busy like looking at other properties and things of that nature. Now I do have a one-on-one mentorship program, but as far as just creating courses and putting it out there so I can hope and pray 1,000 people buy it so I can pay my bills and tell people what I'm doing and this, that, and the third, I just don't believe in that, man. To me, that just don't seem real to me. You know, I really feel like, you know, you need to be helping people out. In other words, I'm going to tell you what I'm doing here lately. You sign up to my mentorship program, I'm actually giving you all my private lenders. I'm giving you access to all my private lenders, and I'm giving you all the knowledge you need to be able to invest in real estate for a fee that's 0.25% of what a lot of people is charging right now. And I'm just giving all that information away because I make money off real estate, not courses.
And give us the link to that. We're gonna put that in the show notes. Let the people, they'll be able to get it through the podcast.
Because my brother got the knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
So we're gonna move to a little bit of housekeeping before we wrap up the show. We just want to say thank you to all our listeners who come and listen every week. Thank you to everybody who's new, who's this first time listening to the show. We hope that you enjoyed it. We just want to say y'all definitely be on the lookout for our book. Go pick up our book, Manage Your Money Like the 1%.
Yes, sir.
Our book will be in stores pretty soon. Give us about a month and a half. Our book will be in the stores on the shelves. It's an ebook right now. You can purchase that from the link in the show notes also.
Yeah. And y'all make sure y'all check out the website, blackwealthrenaissance.com. Follow us on social media at Black Wealth Renaissance, at BWR Podcast on Instagram, Twitter at BWR_movement, TikTok, all these places, YouTube, we everywhere. We got all the content.
One last thing.
But you got fun.
Renaissance Financial Coach.
Oh, yes. The last thing to leave y'all with, we want to let y'all know that we are opening up our services with Renaissance Financial Coaching. We do a lot of talking about building wealth, a lot of different things. We talk to all these people, gain all this knowledge. We want to create a platform that we can extend to you so we can help you start getting on your path to managing your money and creating this wealth.
So we are now becoming financial coaches. We're going to be accountability coaches. We always have a lot of questions. And this is going to be your chance to where you can talk to us once a week. Once a week, we're going to help you set up a budget. We're going to help you set up a spending plan. We're going to help you set up a debt repayment plan. And we're going to actually help you start taking back control of your life. So
the actions, the steps, all that.
So definitely be on the lookout for that. We got a cool mascot we created for this.
Huey.
It's our man Huey coming out. So we definitely can't wait for the world to see this. And on that note,
this is Black Wealth Renaissance signing out.
I got money on my mind. I'm just trying to get some dough. I ain't picking up my line unless it's money on the phone. Gotta get it on the daily. All I want is dubs. You know what I'm on. I've been chasing after paper. All I know is run money marathons. I got money on my mind. I'm just trying to get some dough. I ain't picking up my line unless it's money on the phone. Gotta get it on the daily. All I want is dubs. You know what I'm on. I've been chasing after paper. All I know is run money marathons.
McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles in the overworld. Now for a limited time, you can get one of 6 McDonald's collectibles when you order a Minecraft movie meal. With your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Available now in a biome near you. Oh, and at your local McDonald's. At participating McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.